Hi, this is Ralph Serpe, and you're watching Open House Holiday Edition. I'm the president and CEO of the Adams County Community Foundation, and with me today is Ron Bailey, the chair of our distribution committee at the Adams County Community Foundation. And Ron, today we're talking about generosity and the Christmas spirit. And I couldn't think of anyone more, anyone who embodies the Christmas spirit more than you.
Okay.
And I'd love it if you could talk a little bit about your work in the community and your generosity of spirit to Adams County.
Okay, Ralph, I came to Adams County, in particular Gettysburg, my goodness, it's hard to believe, 11 years ago. I was passing through and I'm still here. So, you know, and I had just come back from living in South Africa, and life was just going on. I started working, you know, with the Medicare community here to help them to be able to decide on their Medicare plans. And then one thing led to another. You get involved with people here in Gettysburg. It's a small enough town where you can kind of feel the ends of it. You can get to know who people are, and then you begin to see some things that you personally would like to get involved with.
Sure.
So that's kind of how it got started for me.
And what are some of those things that you've gotten involved with here in Gettysburg and Adams County?
When I look back at the beginning, it seemed to be a very natural thing to get involved with the Rotary Club. And I've discovered that the Rotary Club, you know, achieves a lot of things that I was used to doing when I lived in other countries, because we're in South Africa, for example, we were dealing with young Africans who were emerging and coming out of their past historical context. We helped with education, and so I saw the same thing happening here at Rotary. So that was a natural for me to get involved with.
Mm-hmm. You know? What else have you been involved in?
I became a member at the time of our Chamber of Commerce,
mm-hmm.
and it was a program that the Chamber ran which dealt with mentoring our youth. And I was asked to mentor a young man who happened to live in New Oxford, and I got involved with his life. And that's been almost 7 years ago.
And you're still involved in his life.
And I am still involved with his life. And from someone who had very little possibilities in life, I'm happy to say today that he is a graduate of Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina. And he was working with the Department of Health and Human Services there as a special liaison to that state's legislature. So
that's an excellent outcome.
Excellent outcome. And I feel that this whole idea of generosity is something that you feel within. It's a warmth, it's a natural thing that, you know, you look at someone out there for many different situations, and something in you just reaches out and you want to make their situation better.
And does that heighten over the Christmas season, or is that something that's within you all year long?
It's with me all year long, you know. Christmas puts a focus on the whole idea of generosity. And when you asked me that, I was thinking when I was a little boy, that's been a while back, I remember in our neighborhood there was a poor family. And I remember they lived in a house that wasn't really completed. And I worried about them because they didn't have a Christmas tree. So what I did, I took pieces of our tree that were left over and dragged them up the street to their house so they could have Christmas. So they took this little piece of a tree that was left from ours, and I couldn't sleep, but they had to have a tree.
And what was your family's reaction to that?
Well, they always knew I was a bit different, so they said, well, that's him. And you know, but I do feel that the whole idea of giving and generosity, for many people, it's innate. I think you come to the planet with it. And some others of us, maybe they have to learn that if they feel the freedom that maybe someone else introduced them to the whole idea, and they saw what people derive, you know, from doing it. I personally simply derive a quiet satisfaction of seeing a life changed.
That's wonderful. And I'm wondering, in the lives that you change, if you also inspire them around giving and generosity.
Precisely. I'll tell you something. There's some of us, I think, that have that natural thing, and I think because we exercise it, it becomes visible, and other people are introduced to it. For a case in point, the young man that I work with, very exciting. All along the process of whatever it took, you know, to get a door open for him, if I had to open my own pockets, get in my car and drive, whatever it was. And I kept saying, remember this, because you will pass this to the next one. And I'll tell you, at his graduation, there was a wonderful picture of him. I stood and looked back, holding back tears, like my own son. And I could see him take off his graduation cap and put it on the head of his little 6-year-old sister. And that was just such an amazing, sense of passing the torch. And he's taken on that that kind of a general sensibility. He feels that because he's succeeded, that he must see to it that the others make it as well.
Right, and now he's giving his little sister the expectation that she too will graduate.
Exactly. And when we talk about giving, in that sense, it wasn't such a physical thing. He didn't write her a check. Well, not yet. But I mean, it was more along the lines that he had burst through a wall that he thought was impenetrable. He had no idea that he would arrive at a place in life, and that thing is what he wanted to pass on to his other brothers and sisters, to say, you can do it. I did it. I didn't think I could either, but I did it.
And what about the student body, the student family at New Oxford? It's not just that one student that you've touched. Now, through that student, it's gone further.
Ralph, I don't think we get up in the morning, I got to touch so many people. I'm just living my life, but I can stand back and I can see that student body, and even some of the teachers, for example, in that area, are aware that, wow, something happened different than we had expected.
Right.
And now, well, let's look at others. I mean, maybe there's some other ones like that.
You've thrown open the door.
And I've stood alone sometimes. Everything everything new sounds like heresy the first time you hear it.
Right.
And I think about Christopher Columbus, who spent, I think, nearly 20 years running around the courts of Europe trying to convince some monarch that the world was really round. But eventually they bought into it, and you and I are here today. If the world weren't round, we wouldn't have got here. So, it cracked something open, and I remain in my humble spot, and I continue to do what I do. I look for the next one that we have. But, that led me, in many ways, I was asked to become a part of the Adams County Community Foundation. And quite frankly, that's when I really felt like I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah,
but
you had no idea what it was.
I know what I was doing. But I'd say get more into this community from that angle, and going out and visiting certain people in our community who are trying, from their hearts to make a change in various areas, be it housing, be it food, be it education, arts, whatever it is that they are feeling deeply about. And through that, I had the opportunity to partake of someone else's passion. Yeah. And to understand, well, what is it that you do, and how does it affect our community, and what can we do to help?
And as the chair of the Community Foundation's Distribution Committee, the Grants Committee, you sit in a unique spot where you're representing and just helping to distribute the gifts of others.
Exactly.
And in that spot, you also see the need in Adams County.
I see the need in Adams County. I've grown to understand our community better. Also, Ralph, I must say that, as someone who was not born here, being involved with the Adams County Community Foundation has helped me to establish relationships and linkages to other people in this town. And it's a collaborative effort, and it just can't happen with one person. And though I've been asked to serve as chair, I had to do a lot of learning, and then listening to some of the others who, and so my job is more like to kind of, be the director, the orchestra leader, to blend the talent of many really good and talented people.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting time of year to have that perspective. Yes. Where we're often told that one single solitary life created a massive change in this world.
That's right.
But we also know that by working together and knowing each other and trusting each other,
exactly,
whether we look alike or we're not alike, whether we're much younger than our friends who are much older, younger, older, that there are different ways to accomplish good in this world.
You see, what I do believe is that when we're young, we're looking to succeed in life, and we go to colleges, we get prepared, and all of that. But at some point, you really have to step into life. At some point, it's time to put the boat in the water. You spend all this time designing it, right, building it. Now put it in the water.
And get it out of the harbor.
And get it out of the harbor. And then, well, I will tell you, I've had that, I don't think it's a unique experience, but realizing in a sense, you really do need other people. You really do need their ideas, you need their input. And that has been a great experience for me, because when we sit in a committee to either design the approach to how we're going to accomplish it, to get the greatest impact and the greatest effect for the community, you really have to listen to other people. You have to take the wisdom of their years and blend it, orchestrate it to get a result that we want for the community.
So, Ron, this holiday season, what are your hopes for Adams County?
Well, you didn't ask a small thing.
No.
My hope for Adams County is that we would maybe take that next step when Lincoln talked about the unfinished work. And I think that we do have some unfinished work, and I think we need to be aware that we have a huge legacy. We have a huge footprint in the world. If you go to the other side of the planet, they know about Gettysburg. Right. Because the Gettysburg Address is often the model to learning English. And so I think those of us who live here, we don't know that we're having this incredible effect around the world. And so I believe that if we could maybe take this occasion, and not just a once-off, but the idea that this occasion reminds us and challenges us that this isn't a one day of December 25th, but it's a time to recognize that and what it means all year long. So I just hope that we as a community would come into a greater understanding of the real impact that we have, and that if we model this idea of making this a better community through giving, and I don't mean just this money as such, but I mean just to give your time, to get that young man, in orbit. It took more than money. Money helped. But it took talking to him, helping him, understanding him. And I think we need to embrace each other in this town more, get to know who the other is.
And it sounds like as much of an impact that you've had on his life, he's had a similar impact on yours.
He absolutely had, because it made me understand, why have you come to this place for this time? Yeah. What if that didn't happen? What if there was no way? What if no one had taken an interest? I look at some of the young people. I'm particularly interested in the young people because I want them to know that there is possibility beyond what they may think of themselves now and in their past. But I feel that they should really understand their unique giftings and their unique talents. And no matter what you've been, there's still a possibility to get to where you want to go to. I didn't pop out of the womb like this. I mean, it took a lot of folk.
It took a lot of people to get you here.
At a difficult time in our country's history.
Yeah.
That I was fortunate that I had good people around. Believe it or not, when I was 13, they set me down and put Harvard's application in front of me and said, now this is what you're going to do.
And this is where you need to go.
And this is where you need to go.
Well, Ron Bailey, thank you for joining us on the Christmas edition of Open House.
Great. It's been a pleasure for me, really.
And we've been blessed to have you as part of the Community Foundation, as part of Rotary, as part of everything you touch. And we're really thankful to have you in our community.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.